there's a secret to dog training that only a few elite trainers know about, and it's the missing piece that could take your dog's training to the next level. The Canine Cooperative is an exclusive community of dog owners that know the secret, and they are using it to achieve greatness with their dogs. The cooperative has videos on dog psychology, leash handling, stranger danger, and solutions for common issues. Use promo code PODCAST to save 50% on your first month. For less than $10, you can start training your dog today. Try it out. You have nothing to lose and your sanity to gain. Enjoy the show.
Time again for Talking Dogs with Ian Grant, owner of Vermont Dog Boarding and Behavior, VFW Drive Hyde Park. It's the show that delves into the training, socializing, behavior, nutrition, and wellness of your dog. And brought to you by Guy's Farm and Yard, with locations in Morrisville, Montpelier, Williston, and St. Albans. And we're back with the trainer, Ian Grant, and this week is your dog patrolling the house. So how does a dog all of a sudden start doing that? It isn't something that we train them to do, obviously.
Correct. Normally it's something, there's been some sort of trigger or imprint to the dog where maybe they have a thing for squirrels and they were just kind of looking out the window one day and all of a sudden they see a squirrel go up a tree. It also could be if somebody lives right next to a sidewalk or a place where people walk dogs by or people go by, they could see that. And usually what empowers the dog is once they bark, it makes the person go away to a degree, meaning if you just walk by somebody's house and a dog barks and you keep going, sometimes that dog will look at that like, yeah, I made you walk away.
I succeeded. Yeah. I am the ace patrol dog right here.
Yeah, then that becomes empowering. And sometimes for dogs that don't get a lot of exercise, this can become the job, meaning what I've seen in my experience is dogs will get up on the back of furniture and just stare out windows until they see something. And then when they see it, they bark and technically make it go away. And too often I hear of people pulling the curtains shut, the shades shut, putting up some sort of a block for a window, and all of a sudden the owners are living in a cave of some sort. That's depressing to me because you want daylight to come into your house.
Right.
It's just a part of it. And most often dogs find some sort of perch somewhere and they end up just staring outside. And this is where they unfortunately get rid of a lot of energy. But this is not a behavior that we need to enforce, nurture by any means, because this could be years and years of just living in a dark house.
Yeah. But what could be wrong with having your dog be protective of your property, though? I mean, there's something going on outside that shouldn't be going on outside. Don't you want your dog to let you know about that?
I do. I just want my dog to be doing something else before they do that.
So in other words, not being on patrol 24/7.
Exactly. And I agree 100% with what you say that we should, our dog, that's part of the reason we have a dog too, is that it's going to bark, let us know there's something outside, or they hear something, they may see something as they walk by a window. I'm all for that. But if you have gone to work and you have one of those cameras at home and you just are able to take a peek at your dog and they're just staring at the door or staring out a window all day
for hours and hours again.
Yeah, that is not good, especially, like I said, it becomes a job for that dog and it's just too detrimental mentally for them, in the long term. And we have to make sure, number one, that we are exercising that dog. We are getting it out for regular walks.
Will that help right off?
It may a little bit.
At least get their mind working in another direction other than watching the house.
Yeah. So we're not saying, you can't ever do this. We're not saying that you have to stop and we're not going to supplement it with anything, energy-wise. What we're saying is, that's not good. Let's do this instead. But what I would also suggest with this, too, is that you put a leash on your dog inside the house. And if you find them perched next to a window or on the back of the furniture looking out, I would just go over and grab the leash, gently and respectfully pull them down off the furniture, back to the middle of the room and drop the leash. Just get them away from the window and all those areas that they feel like they have to patrol.
And, of course, finding that delicate balance is always you do want your dog to be attentive and all, but you don't want it to be so bad that it's detrimental to the dog. So finding that middle ground can be, just what you just get, like we said a couple of weeks ago, repetition and keeping their mind occupied on other things.
Yeah. And also, as we look at this, too, I don't want people to feel like they've got to go out and buy 10 toys for their dog and think the dog's going to play with toys instead of going to the window. I don't want to feel like we have to substitute that. I want to work with this directly so that we still can teach the dog that they can be away from the window. But hey, if they bark at something and go to the window, I'm going to go to the window and check it out too.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's a part of walking that fine line, as you say, of what we actually do want and what we don't want.
But when it happens a lot, then it's time to take some action.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, and you really have to take the action too. You can't just figure it's going to stop.
No.
Back with our question from the doggy bag in just a moment here on Talking Dogs.
Roaming is a Los Angeles-based premium lifestyle brand that is motivated by nature. Roaming features high-quality, earth-friendly dog products made from renewable and natural materials like their bio-based and 100% compostable biodegradable dog poop bags. These bags really are awesome. I've been using their bags for a few months now, and I love the durability, the way they feel, and the fact that they are good for the earth. They also have a special discount for our listeners. Use code VermontDog to get 20% off your first purchase, including 20% off the first 3 orders if you sign up for one of their poop bag subscriptions. They also have some beautiful leather leashes made right here in the USA. You can check them out at roaming.com. That's ROMNG.com. Are you looking for gear that can keep up with your active and adventurous dog? Look no further than Synology Warehouse. They specialize in equipping the modern canine with distinguished, overbuilt gear that's built to last from home to horizon. From premium collars and leashes to rugged outdoor gear, they have everything you need to keep your dog comfortable and safe no matter where your adventures take you. I've been using their Biothane slip leashes for months now, and I love them. They have a nice feel, a good grip, and they clean very easily. Use coupon code Vermont to receive 10% off your purchase. Head over to Synology Warehouse on Etsy today and give your dog the gear they deserve. Synology Warehouse, overbuilt gear that's built to last from home to horizon.
Back with Talking Dogs with Ian Grant from Vermont Dog Boarding and Behavior, VFW Drive Hyde Park. To find out more about his facility and programs, just log on to VermontDogBoardingAndBehavior.com. And the question this morning is, Ian, when my dog sees another dog on a walk, he will start to walk slowly and get down on his belly. What does that mean? What does that mean? I can't even take that one.
Usually it's some sort of a stalking display of behavior, meaning it's like stalking its prey. Unfortunately, this can either mean that the dog really, really wants to play with another dog, or
that was the first thing I was going to think.
Yeah, or the dog really, really wants to go after it. Yeah, we have to be very careful. Unfortunately, there's a lot of gray area in the dog behavior world, as we know. Which is what kept this show going for so long.
Yes, exactly.
Ideally, we don't want this to happen. I wouldn't even let my dog get down onto its stomach here to almost stalk the other dog. I would probably just try to move off of the sidewalk, off of the path, wherever, off to the side, and either make it sit facing the path, or ideally, if I could create this with a friend so we could kind of work on the whole threshold thing of distance, that would be even better. But if you're out in the thick of it, I'm not letting my dog get down to that position. I don't want it to feel like it has to stalk something else, whether if it's play or something more aggressive, because over time I just don't want it to just keep practicing that behavior.
Yeah. So if it is behaving that way, would you want to do like a greet with that dog? So if you're both walking close to each other, or do you have to be a little bit more careful about how they're going to react?
Let's say Gemma did that a lot, and I said, Roland, can you get Tika and meet me out on the rail trail or something? Then I could just keep you, once we see each other, I could just say, hey, I just need you to stop where you are so I could work with Gemma. In that situation, I'd probably just put her into a sit position, wait for a minute or so, take a few steps forward towards you, repeat it again just to kind of slow her brain down. Yeah, she's probably going to be looking at you and Tika, but I don't want her to feel like she's got to get down into that stalking.
Right.
So I will do this incrementally until we get 10 feet apart, and then I would just hang out and we can small talk and whatever, and then walk away, and then I would repeat the whole thing all over again. But again, this goes back to that repetition show a few weeks ago. We have to keep doing this to make this behavior go away. If we think we're going to do it once when we randomly see somebody on a path, if we think it's going to go away, then it won't.
But we wouldn't have the dogs that close together necessarily.
Correct.
I mean, we'd have them doing their own thing and not forcing them to meet each other.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too. Ideally, you want it to be more organic. You never want to force
more natural.
Yeah, I don't like the idea of. I know some people will take one dog and lead its head right around another dog's butt and put it in its space. And I'm just like, man, you're causing problems here.
That's not the natural way of doing it.
No, not at all.
If you have a question for Ian, you can email him directly to info@VermontDogBoardingAndBehavior.com. Next week, the toughest part about having animals is when you lose them. And we've all been through it many, many times before who have lost animals, dogs and such. And so dealing with it's probably the hardest thing to deal with in the entire cycle of having a dog.
It really is. And I was looking back through the shows. I don't think we've ever covered this. Yeah. And it is a heavy subject, but I think it is important to talk about what happens when we do lose a dog. So, yeah, we'll cover it.
On Talking Dogs with Ian Grant, brought to you by Guy's Farm and Yard with locations in Morrisville, Montpelier, Williston, and St. Albans. And for the trainer Ian Grant, I'm Roland LaJoy, and we are Talking Dogs.